This is Series 2 Carly. It is new mechanism, new fabrication, and yeah, Carly. Has anyone seen the pilot on the DVD? There was Carly. Carly was actually like Debbie the chicken. She was actually a feather puppet. So she was completely feather covered. But she, whereas the chicken feathers look beautiful on her because they're quite large. But the pigeon feathers are really small and quite oily, and they didn't really work, and she looked a bit grotesque. So we came up with this mixture of fur and feathers for Carly. So that was one thing that we wanted to change. The other thing was all of our bird puppets, you sort of have two fingers up into the head, with all the other bird puppets on the series, which allows you a certain amount of movement, but the movement sort of comes from the base of the neck, from sort of down here. And we wanted to put the head, when you're puppeteering, the head-body relationship is so expressive. You know, just tilting your head from up here was really important to us. So we had a mechanism built that allowed us to do all this. So you can see from the bottom we've got 3 rods which control the movement of her head from down here. So any movements that I do on the handle get translated up into the head.
The opposite way?
And yeah, well actually it's kind of the opposite way, but it's kind of the same way. And you can do 2 things. Either you sort of lock the body off and move the head around, or you lock the head off and move the body around, and that allows you to sort of
get some attitude.
Surprise legs. And also originally she had 2 handles. Originally the body was on a handle that you held at the back, and the head was on a handle that you held at the front, and these 2 controls were on one on each handle. And we decided that just meant that you couldn't ground her. She had a bad centre of gravity as a puppet, didn't quite work. So we made the bold move of putting both controls onto one stick in the middle, putting the hand up inside the puppet, which meant that you could really anchor her down when she's sat on things or move her around a lot more easily. But it did mean that I had to learn how to do the eyes. I say learn, I'm still learning really. The eyes and the mouth with the same hand.
You're very good at it.
Yeah, thanks.
So do the eyelids get swapped out? Because I can't remember. Is it always that kind of angle?
Yeah, but you can sort of
it's always so expressive the way when the eyes move.
Like, yeah.
I think when they're rested, she has attitude.
With all the secondary characters, we do swap the eyelids around to sort of create different expressions. But with Vince, Nelson, Destiny, all of those ones, the lids move. You can't change the angle, but just by dipping them down, you can create sort of different expressions. So down here, and also the other important thing whilst we got the puppet out is the wings, which are mechanised, and the wings are almost always done by Matt, and if not by Yvonne. I'm very picky who does the wings for them. And yeah, particularly yes, and yeah, Richard was on the shortlist, but he pulled out at the last minute. Yeah, and they're mechanised so they can spread. As you can see, they're just on cable controls. And yeah, this series in particular, I think
she's very street. This series,
very
street.
There's a lot of gesturing
and brapping and cussing.
We just saw that massive scene where she reels off a whole load of insults. Then she goes.
That was fun to do.
So it's quite hectic back.
Considering she's the smallest puppet that we have, she takes up the biggest footprint in terms of puppeteers. So whenever she's sat on the fence, usually Yeston and I are behind it in the most wide positions possible.
Because even Destiny's the other...
and a feather blower as well. So whenever she lands, there's a third person there with a tube of feathers in it.
She's a bit of a diva. She's got like a Winnebago at the back. It's unbelievable. But yeah, also the funny thing about her is that with all the other puppets, you're almost always sort of directly underneath them. Whereas with Carly, I'm always off to one side, so she's always there and I'm always there because that allows me to get the maximum sort of movement. So actually, directly underneath her, there's all this space that I use to move.
And sometimes she's on the wall in her own space. We come to do songs and she's in amongst the gang dancing.
Absolutely.
We do quite because we don't bump and clash too often, do we?
No, it's pretty
quite
good.
used to sort of moving around each other in small
So
spaces.
when she's sitting on the fence, is there like just a base that clips the fence?
No, we literally hold her down. We literally hold her down on her feet.
So we literally tape her feet to the back of the fence, and then Yestin holds.
We use a very sophisticated adhesive technique, man. You have to toe the company line.
Yes, sorry.
We don't just tape them.
Sorry. And so yeah, literally she gets put on. Yestin holds her in place, and then Yestin operates, and then I stand behind Yestin. We do leave her feet on set
There's
occasionally.
2 reasons. Yeah, that happened just the other day. There was 2 reasons. There was 2 reasons for doing that, and I forget what the second one was. But the first one is that if the feet were attached to her, then you'd get her set on the fence and light her, and she'd be stuck there.
Yeah.
And you'd be stuck with your arm up, sort of holding her in place the whole scene. This way, we fix the feet on, make sure they look nice, pop her on top, light her, and then she can come down. Yeah. Come down and bring her back. So it works nicely. So this is the mechanism for Carly. This is the
Naked
backup.
Carly.
This is the backup mechanism, which we didn't have for the first series, which was a bit scary. But now we've got that.
Very exciting.
So you can see now really how that sort of triple rod.
To be
Sort of
fair,
works.
in series 1, it only broke once.
And that was at the
Something
beginning.
Which is,
That was at the
as you can
beginning.
see, it's got joints and mechanisms and parts to it. It's going to break sooner or later.
It's
bound to.
very well
It's
made
only-
mechanism,
it's
made
only
by
wear and
a
tear.
guy called John Nolan, who works a lot in movies.
So it did really well, but it is rather comforting to have a
Really
a
beautiful.
backup one.
But yeah, we're quite fussy when it comes to mechanisms. We were really anxious with Carly that she didn't look mechanical, even though she's a
Very good
mechanical
look,
puppet.
yeah.
And
Smooth, isn't it?
yeah, she's really smooth. And what the scary thing about Carly is that with all the other puppets, with Vince, with Nelson, if any of the mechanisms break, you can still get through a scene because you can move the mouths, you can look around. If the blink doesn't work, it's not going to prevent you from doing a scene. If the ears don't work, it's not going to prevent you. Whereas with Carly, if any of this goes, she can't look in the right direction, and if any of this goes, she can't talk. So that's
And looking in the right direction is really important to the director.
yeah, absolutely. That it's very specific. Literally, we'll be sort of looking in direction, and he'll sort of stay a little bit close to camera, and we'll literally go. And that'll be it. You're so close on her. You're so close on her. So it's quite strange that.
You've got the
She
bit on
appears.
the top of the nose. If it blocks part of the eye, then it'll just look
Yeah,
completely wrong.
everything
Yeah.
just has to sort of fit in. Everything just needs to look right. This is my favourite bit is the blink, which is just exquisite, and the way when it comes forwards, those 2 bars, just keep out of the way of the
Very
eyelids.
detailed.
Really nice movement. Also, although we don't design the mechanisms, we do set up all the relationships, and particularly the angle of the lids is so important. So we do dictate all of that stuff because
To get the emotion
it's so
out.
characterful. It's so characterful. What's funny as well is I don't know if you can. I don't know how well it reads. One lid with Carly comes down slightly in advance of the other, so you can sort of see there comes a point where the lid is touching just the top of that one, and it gives her sort of a slightly arched look. And we had to duplicate that on the second mechanism. On the first mechanism, it was just a slight inconsistency. They came down. If you're doing a blink, you wouldn't notice it, but we realised that because we play them sort of halfway down every now and then, it gave her a very specific expression. And so when we had the mechanism rebuilt, we had to say, by the way, it has to do this
Yeah.
thing as well.
This series we are in high definition, so you can see all this stuff. Hi everyone, my name is Tim, and I was a background character last year. As you know, I was just a nice, friendly neighborhood psycho killer. Only I'm not. Salt was the psycho killer.
Salt's the killer.
I'm very misunderstood because I happen to wear kinky gloves, but don't let that put you off. I'm a very nice badge. I've got French. The only
I'm a very nice badger.
yes. Speaking of French, there was a Christian who was the visitor, and there was the other dogs, and there was Sandra, the girlfriend. They all died. One thing to do if you're a background character on Mongrels is not die. Then you
Have
can
to
come back for
survive.
series 2. Hey! So now I'm kind of part of the secondary gang, yeah. So I come in every now and again and suggest some videos for them to watch. Very funny series called Multimact 5. Oomph. From Germany. You've seen this? Oh, it's a real giggle fest. You should watch. Very good. Yeah. So that's me.